Hi, thank you for joining me. My name is Royal, and I am recapping a couple trades that I actually took on FUSE today. Today is February 2nd, 2026, and FUSE hit the scanners in the pre-market, made a quick move higher, and then pulled back. On this curl upward, I did take this trade. I made some money on it, and then it pulled back. We lost the 21 EMA. It set back up again. I actually took this trade as well. I made a little bit on it when we held. I basically kind of broke even through this little portion right here as we were transitioning back to strong bull. And then as this held the 21 EMA, I took this trade again. Again, kind of broke even. I maybe made a couple $100 at most. And then we had this really violent move down. This one was a little bit annoying in all reality because we had this nice move higher. This is a really strong candle. And then we topped out right here about 270, and I actually ended up losing about $300 on this quick move down. My average cost was right up here in kind of the 260 range because I was entering and adding to my position. We hit 275, and then next thing you know, this just flushed down, and I ended up exiting again for about a $300 loss on this. So from here, I just watched this, and I was trying to be patient, watching this come across the 21 EMA, and we had the EMAs are all kind of jumbled, the VWAPs right here. And I want to talk about this trade right through here, and then also the trade I avoided on this backside. So as this started to move higher, I actually took an entry after this first candle as we were coming up and holding the 21 EMA. Now, we ripped up through the pre-market high, but didn't close above it. And I sat in this consolidation window, which was tough. So when we talk about principle number two of I expect to be uncomfortable, this is kind of what I'm talking about, where we're holding the ADMA, we got a wick down to the 21. My average cost was right here around 256. And every time this came up to 275, I kept thinking, man, if we could just break through this pre-market high, maybe we'll get the move. And I was watching, we were in a mid compression squeeze down here. MACD had opened up, and I just kept trying to be patient, and this popped up again, and then we pull back, and then it popped up again, and we pull back, and then we started to get these three topping tails as well, and my mind was just racing, thinking, do I take it off? I know my stop loss is just below this low at 245. My average cost is 256. I had about 2,500 shares here, and so I was trying to be really patient and just stick to my rules, right? If we lost the 21 or closed below the 8, then I would potentially exit at that point. And that patience paid off. We got this really nice candle up through here. I added really good pop up. I took a little bit off at 309, and then we get this first 1 minute candle to make a new high. Now, I didn't add back here in part because of this topping tail. Was a little hesitant to take this, thinking we might get a false breakout. It kind of did false breakout right here with this selling candle, but the volume on this candle ended up being much lighter, and then we got the nice rip up to 367. Now, on my chart, we actually had blue sky on this above 425. So what I really was looking for, and I thought would have been really neat, is if we would power into a halt here and then unhalt somewhere up in this blue sky territory. But that just didn't end up happening. So I was exiting between about 338 and 350 were my exits. When we had this really strong move down, I took the rest off. This ended up being about 329 is where I got out the rest. Now, here's the part of this where I have traditionally struggled, and it's a portion of my trading that I'm really working hard to eliminate, is that once we've made this nice move up, I see these candles come back up, and I keep thinking, oh, it's going to rip again. It's going to go. I need to get in. But when I look down here at the MACD, I can see that this is closed, and that is a reason for caution. So if someone is going to trade this, I would suggest looking for an entry around the 21 EMA, preferably on a whole dollar support. You can see right here is $3. The 21 EMA is right near that. You see we get a pivot low right down here about 292. So if you're going to take a starter position around 3, you just got to know that if you can't get back up to this pivot and break higher, it's time to offload the trade, and you might be break even at best. Plus, we get this transition to strong bear here, and it's just not giving you a lot of confirmation. MACD's closed, you're strong bear on the TTM. Yes, you're holding the 21, but you're not breaking back up above this pivot, or quite frankly, the pivot here at 326, and then we see that sell off lower. What I would say is this area through here, so essentially this portion through here, this has been the spot where I really struggle, where I see these things pop up and I think it's going to go without me. And the one thing that's really helped me is focusing back down on the MACD and looking down here and seeing, okay, MACD is closed. We need to stay away. And that's that I was able to do that today. It was great. So I actually locked up an $1,800 winner on this move with about 2,500 shares. So it wasn't a massive position, but it was a nice winner. And I didn't give any of it back trading on this backside. So once MACD closed, where I normally would have struggled again through this area and thinking, oh, we're holding the 21, I'm going to take this, I was able to basically restrain myself from doing that, look down at the 21 EMA and just remind myself, hey, look down at the MACD and remind myself, look, MACD is closed. You do not want to be taking trades here. So I didn't take any trades there, and it ended up being awesome. I was able to maintain that nice gain. Ended up $1,800 on this trade, just over $1,000 overall on the day, and that was in a live trading account. So I was really happy about this transition on day one to this live trading account. So hope you enjoyed this recap. I hope you were able to get some good trades today. There were a couple of other stocks that went off. DKI did a little bit. This was a tricky one. It came up here to $1.19, and then there was a little bit of a curl, but then it had this descending resistance, and we had more descending resistance, and then more descending resistance. So it had a tough time. It put in a pre-market high, but I think I made like $180 on this is all today. It was pretty minimal. And you can see we hit this descending resistance up here, and then that put in another resistance there, and it tried to get through it in the after hours and couldn't, and it was just a little bit tricky. So Views and DKI ended up being two of the top gainers, and it was a little bit slower today. A lot of pop and drop, not a lot of continuation, but I was happy to be able to stick to the process. Really was happy with this move on Fuse. It only takes one. If you can get one good move like this, this is from about 238 up to 367. You're not going to catch the whole thing. So again, I'm looking to try to take these entries down around the 21 EMA as we're transitioning from weak bear to strong bull. I want to make sure that MACD gives me some confirmation. So I'm taking this trade knowing this could flip, but I already know my stop loss is this low right here at 220, 225 at this pivot. So I'm not going to give it a ton of room. Took a 500 share starter. I'm going to assume that I'm wrong until proven otherwise. And as I was right, I added, and then I had to sit in this consolidation. So hope you enjoyed this recap. Looking forward to the rest of this trading week. If you are trading and struggling with your consistency, I would definitely encourage you to go back to a simulator. Use something professional that you can actually get some metrics out of, or you've got to at least be able to export your trades into TraderView or something like that to determine where you can make improvements. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week and stay green out there.